I thought you was gonna be back in school by this time.
Yeah, well, this is sort of a movie magic moment. So.
You're not gonna reappear in your school. We're just recording like right after each other.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing. So we're recording questions for this week's Friday's podcast, and you guys will get this podcast. I'll be at RCGP already. So anyway, with all that saying, all that going, we got some questions to answer. We got a good guest this week, and I think it's time to drop that intro.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. Yeah.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
There we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no!
I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 179 of the No Name RC podcast. You know what? I just realized we're like 21 away from 200. We're going to be at 200 pretty soon here. That's pretty impressive. Wow. But yeah, I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great. And to my immediate virtual left is the man with many nicknames and much hate against him right now, the great and wonderful Arrogant Max. What's up, Arrogant Max? What hate shall you spew today upon the teams and manufacturers of RC?
You know what? Today I try to be as positive as I can. I try to keep all of my negativity as passive aggressive as possible, and sort of as softened as possible. Right. I think I've been going a bit too hard. People probably
it's that HB rear end. That HB rear end from DNC that got you all worked up. That's what it was.
Yeah,
you like HB's ass. That's what you do.
It's when granted, yes, I do like the rear end of the HB, but I think it's just all these big races. So that I'm like, I wish manufacturers put all of their effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I don't see the effort that they put into it to be all of what they could do, that gets me riled up a bit. So that's my excuse for being a bit more harsh than I usually am, I think.
I noticed. But this week, this is our Friday show. And like I said, when you guys listen to this and it's come out, I'm actually at RCGP, and I hope a lot of you are watching that with us. But we have a lot of we have some questions for you this week. You haven't done a question segment, the Beach RC Bench Racing Q&A. Last time Joseph done that, so you had a bunch of questions, and you have quite a few questions as well that we have to get through. But before we get onto all of that, I just want to say some thanks, and of course, I want to shout out and say thank you to the NNRC Squad around the world. We cannot do it without you guys. Simple as that. It's pretty simple. If you guys don't download them and join the YouTube's growing. It's over 2,000, and we're starting to see a lot more views on the YouTube podcast. So I see people enjoying them. We want to do more lives and all that stuff, but we need you guys to continue to share this, leave reviews. Like, I have 5,000 friends. It should be no issue to get, 5,000 people on my Facebook and 4,000 plus on the NNRC Facebook. It should not be hard to get that many people on YouTube or more. So if you love RC and you like what we're doing, hit that sub button, hit that notification button, share what we're doing. Please get us out in the algorithm. There isn't enough people listening to us yet. That's what it is. We're still got a lot more people to get tuned into the NNRC podcast and our shenanigans. So thank you, but thank you to everybody that has supported us from the beginning and continues to support us. Also, a big thank you to the patrons of the podcast. Without you guys, life would pretty much suck. So thank you. You know, that the money that you guys send and pledge with your money, I greatly appreciate it. You guys got early release of our awesome guest this weekend. I had Matt Olson on her. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But thank you guys. If you wish to be a patron of the podcast, you can. The link is in the written description of the podcast. And thank you to our sponsors and awesome companies. Invisible Speed, probably one of the best tools you can have. Lots of books have been sold. Now try the online course. You will not be disappointed. It's really good. Trust me. Shout out to TZO 200 Tires, Nick Hernandez and those guys. He should be here at this time when I'm recording this. I should be with him at RCGP. They are the spec tire for the RC2 series, and it'd be good to see how they do at SMB. Shout out to High Tech RC for all their support. Greatly appreciate them. TNR Fuels, Beach RC, who I'll be with as well. Techno RC, Mayako, JQSM, G-Spec RC Tuning, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic for all your traction needs, Racecraft USA, Clinic RC, RCGP, House of RC. If you're listening to this on Friday and you want to watch RCGP, please sign up $14.99 to watch it through RCGP's media package. If you want to continue to subscribe after that, then so be it. But at least subscribe for the events. So thank you to House of RC for their time. JTP RC, David Runnerfolk, Alexander Hagberg. Shout out to those guys. And my buddy RC Kevin, who had a good time at the Nats. But yeah, Max, we got Matt Olson on this week. I did chat with Matt Olson back in the day. He's one of the guys who I think is doing some good things in RC. He's super busy. I don't know how he does all that he does. Like, the guy is just, he was on BattleBots and he's doing this. And I really enjoy what he's doing with mod media. And I can appreciate the amount of work, money, sacrifice, and effort that goes into what he does. Then he has the whole fifth scale stuff that he started out with that he's still going strong with. That guy's like I don't know. I told him, I said, I don't know how you have time to do all this type of stuff. But definitely a gentleman, a young man that's doing some good things in RC, especially with his media stuff. And he's like, I don't make any money at it. I said, I know, but just keep going, stay in the course. It will come. It will definitely come. So he's on this week. We just recapped. Wanted to find out what he's been doing and, talk more about BattleBots, which he was involved in, which he liked. So thank you to Matt Olson of Mod Media and Matt Olson Designs for his time. I think it was a good chat with him. You guys can enjoy that later on. But you know what? We have a lot of Beach RC bench racing Q&A questions to get through. And I think we're just going to, I don't have any news or anything. We're just going to get into these questions. And I want to say big shout out to Brent Beach. They're national champions with Ultimate Racing. Congratulations to them. Let's see what they can do here at RCGP. And they got a local hero and a young guy. So let's see what goes on. But big shout out to them. Thank you for their support. And remember, guys, show Beach RC some love because we have an affiliate link that we get a little slice of.
BeachRC.com, the racers' one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lux Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
Thank you to Brent. Thank you to Lucas for your help. I had to put my glasses on because I'm getting old and the writing on my phone is starting to get smaller. So thank you for their support. Remember, guys, there's an affiliate link for this. If you help us out, use that. You got a little bit of a little slice of that, and it really helps us out. So, Max, we have quite a few questions, and I think you probably have to go science mode on a few of these. So, yeah, let's get cracking.
Oh, wow.
Zach Rodriguez. How much of an effect does the difference in weight bias between Nitro Buggy and E-Buggy, brick layout in particular, have on the setup handling of the car with respect to one another? I've noticed that if I run the same setup on my Nitro Electric, the E-Buggy has a lot more steering, especially to turn in. There you go. All about E-Buggy. There you go.
Yeah, so I think for e-buggy the biggest difference is the fact that it has drag brake most of the times. If you tune the speedo, it will have some sort of drag brake. That will introduce a lot of steering, especially slow speed. High speed steering, not that much. Slow speed steering, quite a bit. Um, e-buggies generally are more front heavy, which do make the car steer better on low speed, do reduce sort of rear end grip loss, so the car is more balanced. But to me, it's a bit of a hard question to say if it's about the weight balance or about the drag brake, or what makes the bigger difference. Because if you run 10 scale, you obviously know that 2-3% of drag brake can make a huge difference in how the car handles. So that could be it just on its own, but it could be that the fact that e-bug is much more closer to 50-50 in weight balance, that will make the difference. But both, in my opinion, do make a difference. The e-bug is slightly heavier. If you run shorty packs, you can get it down to same weight as Nitro. So if you run shorties, your weight balance is shifted forwards, but it's the same weight as Nitro. You have a bit more drag brake, so you have the car calm down a bit more in slower space corners. Especially high speed, you get the car to calm down. It doesn't increase steering that much, but it calms it down a bit, the drag brake, I feel. So both of those factors play a role. Hard to say which one is the more dominant one, but I've run a Nitro buggy which is more forward uh, balance and a more rear balance, and it's pretty clear that the forward balance car has more control, more stable steering. The rear end doesn't throw out as easy. But in my opinion, the weight balance reduces the extra effects of, like, if you have a weight balance that's 50-50 versus, let's say, 54, 53 rear, and then 47, 48 front. Like, that weight balance more often than not will reduce rear grips in landing, will reduce drivability, and will make the car harder to control when something happens, when it hits a bump or whatever happens. But it will feel like the rear end is more supported. So, in my opinion, it doesn't directly introduce steering, but preciseness and control of the car. More 50-50 weight balance, I'm talking here. Drag brake, on the other hand, is the one that, in my opinion, introduces the steering. So, my hypothesis is that the drag brake is the factor that gives your e-buggy more steering. But
Yeah.
both factors help you in drivability, and that's why, also with the additional power, obviously with the e-buggy engine, e-buggy motor rather, that's why you're faster with your e-buggy most likely.
Okay. Cool. Next question is from Chris Trudeau, and he says, I understand that not every track can carry every brand of RC car and recognizing parts of availability. If a track owner is sponsored and their track only seems to carry for such said car, does that help or hinder the hobby by limiting competition? He says, I also understand that the shop is free to carry any product that they want, but isn't competition rivalry healthy? Or he asked, do manufacturers give kickbacks to track owners for exclusively promoting their products over another? He says, this was also another observation I made at a local track where the parts war was dominated by one brand only. He goes, however, at the non-track affiliated hobby shop, I can find several competing brands, more so 10th scale versus 8th scale. I don't know. I just think, like, because RC and everybody wants to be a part of a team at some point, there's going to be track owners that are going to push. I mean, where else? What a better place to push your brand than at the track that you own? So I would do the same thing, I guess. But to bring in I think, I don't know. Like, if you're a hobby shop that's going to cater to everybody, then you need to bring different parts in and all that type of stuff, and you want a plethora of people running different cars. But I guess it also depends on the market there as well. I mean, is there enough people
Yeah,
to support
I've
many people?
yeah, I've personally worked at a hobby shop and seeing how much they pay for some brand parts, and if they have a deal with a specific brand, like for example, the hobby shop I worked at, there is no reason at all for them to try to push any other brand than associated, because the prices they have for them, the amount of stuff they can order for them, the sort of the relationship they have with
Mm-hmm.
associated, because they are the distributor for Finland, there is no absolute reason for them to sell any other brand, really, even though they have distributorship of other brands. Like that's most likely a deal with a lot of hobby shops. The fact that they might know someone from a specific brand, or they have a sponsored driver or whatever, and they can get a deal of they can order parts. And okay, my camera died.
Yeah, don't worry. We just look at webcam utility while we do this.
Yeah, so either way, a lot of these hobby shops probably get a deal with a brand they have some sort of affiliation with,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they sell one brand. I don't think it's like these hobby shops are barely getting by, so they just
Yeah.
try to get what they have most profit off of. It's not like hobby shops are the one you should be looking at what's destroying the hobby or what's looking good for the hobby. Hobby shops are the ones that are trying to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's the big shops like A Main. I mean, perhaps something like Beach, RC, or Absolute Hobbies. I don't really know their situation these days, but like
Yeah, but
big
Beach actually
shops
has a
like these,
track, a physical
yeah,
hobby shop. You go there, they have parts for everything, but that's a bigger
yeah,
hobby shop. I think what this guy's talking about,
yeah,
he's up in the Pacific Northwest, and they have some specific tracks like that may just be
yeah, yeah, yeah,
specific
yeah, yeah,
for some people. Like I think like Joe Pillar's track that he's at, like everybody runs associated there,
yeah,
or they ran Yokomo.
yeah.
But you got to understand, like when you have somebody like Joe Pillars or somebody like that pushing that, of course he's gonna get people to run that and get people to, if he's
Mhm.
involved with a track like that to run what he's pushing. It's
Yes.
I don't I don't know what the answer is to this because I guess really there isn't. Excuse me. Let's be honest. So what are we looking at in 10 scale chassis options? We have AE, TLR, Schumacher, X-ray, pretty much, right? That's about it.
Hmm.
Yokomo,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
but the
not like
Yokomo
8
is,
scale. I
yeah,
guess
they
you could
aren't
have,
putting that much.
yeah. And I mean, how many people are there with Schumachers? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is there 25 people with Schumachers there that warrants having Schumacher parts there? Or is there two guys there for Schumacher and you need to have a whole wall? So yeah, like, and of course that track owner is gonna push people to the team that he's a part of because it makes him look like, hey, look, everybody's running this. So I understand Chris's point is like, is that infiltrating and poisoning the hobby shop part of it? But man, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be having no hobby shop right now. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, the thing is, I think if it's a small hobby shop, they do what they need to do to stay alive. If
Mhm.
it's a bigger one, then you can have your grievances about them. But most of these big ones sell whatever they get to sell. Like
Yeah,
I
like,
don't know of any hobby shop who doesn't sell almost all brands.
and not only that,
Like
like you
big
look at
ones, like big ones.
some other companies might have a limit. Like I know Horizons, like you have to spend such and such amount of money every month and all that stuff. Maybe some shops can't. Well, with Horizon, it's a little different because they have all this there's basher stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah. The
it,
Horizon is a bit because it's kind of like Traxxas, where it's not like racing brands.
Traxxas is
Like
actually in my
Arma,
rant this afternoon, so
yeah, they
we have a
sued
little rant.
someone again, right?
Huh? Oh yeah. We're gonna talk about that. All right, let's move on. So we see this new engine company called Nova Engines coming out of Italy. Um,
It's the same town as Novaros. It's just the other side of the small town.
okay, so it's safe to tell. I asked the question because they're like, "Hey, people's asking are these Nova Rossi engines?" The answer I got from them was we have the same technicians as Nova Rossi. Now,
Yeah. So
some
it's
people don't.
basically what I heard was people who worked at Nova Rossi
Okay.
formed a co-op. So they basically put up a new company between the people who work in the previous company.
Hmm.
So all of them own the company. It's a shared company between all of the people who worked at Nova Rossi who wanted to continue with this one. So it's basically same people, new company, new facility, but yeah, they
Same
should be
but better
doing
engines.
similar stuff. Most likely, yes, because okay, I don't want to be too political here, but co-ops and sort of these democratized organizations have proven to work better than sort of the more conventional company hierarchies.
Hmm.
So most likely Nova Rossi or Nova engines, what they call these days, will do
Hmm.
better than the Nova Rossi used to.
Okay, interesting. I know a lot of people are happy about it. I wouldn't mind having some Nova engines. I hope they make
Oh,
a.
me too. I'm
I,
super excited.
I hope they make a budget type P5 again, one of the most popular engines ever. All right. That was from Paco Tapate, my co-host of NNRC Espanol. Thank you, Paco. Brett Ryan, why are all the wing mounts going higher when there are so many holes in the wicker part of the wing? I think we had a whole argument about holes in or debate about holes in wings,
Yeah,
but go ahead, answer the wing mount question.
that is interesting. Why we are making the wings higher up when we are sort of maxing out on downforce already? I'm kind of starting to believe that these guys are feeling the weight being higher up helping them,
Mm,
because let's be honest, I have yet to see an 8 scale wing which is aerodynamically anywhere reasonable. Like, you don't have any wing going any uh airflow going below the wing, which is very much needed to make the wing work properly. Um, you just have a sort of a straight wing and then a 90-degree corner rounded off where you have their like produce drag mostly. So I think the fact that the wing is mostly producing drag rather than downforce is making people want to have the wing as forward as possible, so the drag is produced more forward in the car, so it's not only affecting the rear tires, and it's produced higher up where the wing sort of calms down the car because the roll motion of the car is a bit calmer thanks to the weight bias and such. I think that is the main reason why the wings are brought higher up, and then the holes are just made because the drag of the wings are so high so that the car would jump relatively good. So it's sort of doing a lot of things at the same time that fight against each other, and then trying to find a balance at the end. And then this is what we ended up with. But I personally liked a lot having the wing higher up. I don't necessarily know what it is about. And I tried the T-Works wing, which is basically HB wing with the holes, and I did prefer it over the AE wing. There's something about it. I need to try more this year. I'll try to make a few of my own modifications, try to find out what is actually the deal with the wing that makes this stuff happen. But the wing forwards and the wing high is definitely good. Uh, the holes in the wing, I need to confirm, and the size of the wing, the weight of the wing, all of that, I need to still confirm. But wing forward, wing high is definitely better to drive. The car is more drivable, predictable. The rear end is more calm, and I like it much better that way.
okay. John Wolf, he wants to know what is the current split of EU versus American drivers in RCGP, and could it be possible to run a EU versus American Cup within the RCGP series? So maybe top five of drivers score points. Well, let's see. The first race we have, let's count how many Americans. Well, let's count the Europeans. So we have Zankatine, Ronafalk, Berton, Lee, Martin. So we only have 4. Oh, Hampus, 5.
Well, David is already obviously European.
I said that. I said Ronafalk,
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Ronafalk, Zankatine, Hampus, Lee, and Ricardo. That's 5. That's the least amount of Europeans that's been in there. Then you got
Yeah, that's not a lot actually. I thought.
yeah,
It
that's
was
the
more.
least amount. Then you got Joe Bornhorst, Heckert, Lime, Bale, Cody. I don't know, I'm missing somebody here. Brandon Rose. That's 6.
Horn and
Horn, Tollard.
Tollard.
So that's 8. So it's 8 and 5 getting her. But I think it's gonna square up when they go over. It's gonna be more Europeans when they go over to
No,
Europe.
it has to. It's 15 drivers, so you're missing.
No.
two
But I
Americans
think
now.
that the drivers will change. I don't think they're gonna send Hackert to America or Bornhorst to America. We'll see. Unfortunately, you'll see.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if that could be done because I don't know if all the racers. It could be eventually when like teams agree to send like, hey, we're gonna send these 2 guys to every race. Yes, but they aren't at that point. But at some point they can be. I think.
Yeah, I think I'm very disappointed at the lack of commitment by some of these teams because, being honest, I don't see the reasoning for the lack of commitment. They do spend quite a bit of money on the entry alone because they are getting a lot out of it if they just sort of go full in, take all out of the media work they can get.
Right, I
And
get it.
take
Like the
all out
media
of
day,
the appearance. Yeah.
like not attending the media day, like it's ridiculous. I
Yeah.
get that, and I
But-
like not everything's. I understand what you're saying. I get it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think these guys are putting in quite a bit of money just for entry and contributing for this series.
Yeah, like I would
It's-
understand why
it's
you
un-
wouldn't want to get the most out of it.
Yeah, it's
I get
like
that.
sending your number 2 guys in. What's going on? Like, why? Like, I mean, I get budget, whatever, but if you're spending a lot of money already, why are you then second guessing yourself?
Yeah, the point is
That
to
I
win
don't
this.
get.
Like the point is
Yeah,
to win
and
this.
like, unfortunately, it's looking like David's going to dominate the series.
Well, they're
because-
treating it. You know what it is? I think they're treating it like it's just another regular RC race and not a series.
Exactly.
Okay,
They are
I-
treating it like a new RC race when
Mhm.
it's new, completely different thing than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, next question. Chris Oxley was the person who designed the Broggy body drunk when he did so.
No, he was actually doing the right thing because Truggy as a class doesn't really have any rules. Well, any sort of even buggy rules are very vague. So he didn't have any restrictions on him. And when he designed the body, he understood that there is no point in making a body where 50% of the airflow goes below it. Rather make 100% of the airflow go above it. So if you think in at least any way in scientifically, the Broggy body is what makes the most sense. Now, if you think of the integrity of the Truggy class, then it's ridiculous. But any class in RC and Truggy class specifically, in my opinion, if you look at the rules, doesn't have any integrity or any sort of ways to keep that integrity alive. So can't really blame him. I mean, I can't believe I'm praising the techno engineers for making a car that works, but they did something that massively improved, in my opinion, the Truggy car.
Okay, cool. All right. Next question. Are we finished? And the Broggy bodies are here to stay. Like,
Yeah,
they ain't going
Roar did
anywhere.
nothing about it. Roar is the only one sort of in the world apart from BRCA who really care about Truggy. because no sensible people really run Truggy, just Americans do. And
You
the
had to go
UK
there, didn't you? You just dislike Truggy so much.
No, but I mean, I'm enjoying the because I gotta be honest, I do enjoy the bruggy look better than the Truggy look, and I'm just enjoying the fact that Americans who defended Truggy for so long are now pissed at the whole class.
Right, because
I'm
the point was
like,
it to look like a truck, and now
yeah,
it kind of
exactly.
doesn't.
Like I've been talking shit about the class since forever because in my opinion it's pointless and doesn't add anything into RC at professional level. Again, please understand the fact that at club level for
Yes.
hobbyists, you can enjoy whatever you enjoy in RC. You can enjoy stadium truck, like Nitro Stadium truck. You can enjoy four-wheel drive, 10 scale like truck that Techno did. All of that stuff I embrace and applaud people for enjoying and having their fun in RC. But for professional level, who people say, oh, Truggy matters for professionals, Truggy needs to matter for professionals. I'm very happy that they're now mad at Bruggy. And personally, I don't have any issues with Bruggy buddies. I think the closer that the Truggy class gets to the buggy class, the better because it's going to save time and money by the manufacturers. So yeah,
Why do you think like the
I'm all
buggy
for it.
class is just going to eventually become the buggy class?
Yeah, I mean, at some point the bodies will evolve where it's just going to be a long and a wide buggy. So basically, you don't really need to do anything, and then at some point, manufacturers are going to give even less shit about it than they do at the moment.
I actually don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to have, if they had a truggy or whatever it's called, truck, buggy, truck, let's call it set. I don't know. If they had a world right now, it would matter. It doesn't have a world, so it doesn't really matter on a professional
Yeah,
level.
that's the issue
That's the thing.
where it's the tires are so expensive where it's never gonna be a thing in Europe, and it's not gonna be a world class until it's a thing in Europe because EFRA most certainly controls what happens in IFMAR. So yeah, I don't see a way for Truggy to improve, and if this Broggy craze destroys Truggy in America, I don't know. I mean, I am
So you're
smiling
hoping
when
that it
I'm saying
destroys
this.
Truggy. You're just hoping that it destroys. You're like Jakey. You're hoping that it dies. Well, I have to tell you something. It's not dying, and Truggy's growing.
Oh,
So just get over it.
yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
I mean, I'm not like, I don't like, I'm gonna be honest here. I don't really care either way, but I
I know
can't
what you're
bring
saying. Don't
myself to be
right.
disappointed at the Bruggy thing, Like, I can't be like, oh, I'm so sad that Bruggy makes Truggy look something different. Like, it's not looking like a Truggy anymore. Like, I can't, like,
Because you didn't
I'm gonna be
care.
honest. I didn't care to start out with. At this point, I care even less. Like, that's the thing. Like,
All right.
I mean, I'm sorry if I'm offending someone here, but
I'll
like,
tell you how much Max does not like Truggy. I threatened his life at PNB to go run Truggy, and he wouldn't go run. It's like he drove
yeah,
one
it's
practice run. It's like, I'm not driving this thing. I was like, go out there and drive a Truggy. No,
yeah. Well,
I'm getting my money back.
my engine got to fuck with
That
dirt
too.
as well.
That too.
So it was a big thing. But like, the thing is, I don't really hate Truggy. I just don't give a shit. It's like like that's what people sometimes like don't. I don't think people sort of understand that part. I don't if I see someone driving around the track with a Truggy, I don't have any feeling towards it. Like, I think especially like if I see Fend or like the top guys, like, I don't really give a shit run
You're like
Truggy.
a
If people run Truggy, but
you're like a
I
soulless
don't have.
human. You have no feeling for Truggy whatsoever. It's like
No,
a dead
absolutely
spot.
not. Yeah,
It's
it's like, in my opinion, the whole class is a waste of time for professionals. But I do, if someone came up to me and was like, "Hey, I really love Truggy and I'm having issues with setting up the car," I definitely gonna help because I'm for people having fun in RC and I don't really care what class they run.
I
But
get your
when
point.
someone comes up to me like, "Hey, this is a 5-time Truggy national champion," I'm like, yeah, and so what? You know, like that's sort of
You're just gonna
my
blanket that person's dream, like right there.
yeah. Like
Right.
I don't care
I
what
get
this
your point.
class
I
is
get your point.
professionally, but I do care people having fun with this class if they
Yes, I get
choose
what you
to
mean.
do so.
I get what you mean. I get it. Jared Tebow, did JQ pay up for all his bets before DNC? I don't think he beat any of the drivers he was claiming to beat. He was pretty confident he was going to put it to Joe Bornhorst, and I didn't say JQ got TQ or second in the Pro Nitro bug he made. And he goes and he puts up that and does a face palm at last. Well, I can confirm that JQ has paid none of his bets, and his excuse is we didn't shake on anything. Because at this point, I'm pretty sure JQ owes me some money for bets. And he owes Anthony Westergaard, but then he'll say, we didn't shake on it. He was too scared to shake on it. Well, JQ, I shook on it, and I want my money.
Yeah, you two shook on it, so he at least owes you.
Yeah, I think it was like, he was like, I'm going to beat Joe Warnhorst. I said, you ain't going to beat Tyler Hooks. And he wouldn't have beat Tyler Hooks. And I think he would.
That's actually perfect that you said it, because he was beating Joe Bornhorst, so we ended up finishing second, and Tyler Hooks. I don't know where he ended up, but like
he didn't race. He didn't race
much. Okay.
But he would have beat Joe. He would have beat JQ. That's my opinion.
Most likely not, but I mean, these guys would have been probably racing though.
But JQ's fast on JQ. Let me tell you something. JQ's car looked good. That's about it.
Yeah,
he's still the best one-arm beer drinking driver I ever met.
Joseph is extremely talented at driving sort of any car you give him, and he's driving almost any car like he can. Like it's he's a very talented driver to just keep the top car on his wheels. But I think his driving style is stuck in like 2006, where cars used to be much heavier, much like more
He's too careful.
brittle.
He's too careful.
He's way too careful, and he drives like a robot at times. He doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
Like, I don't want to say grandma, but that's sort of what he does. He can
I like
be
him when he's
fast at
throwing
times
whips.
when he's very good at throwing whips though.
He can do
weird.
one-handed
He's
too.
like a those grandmas who sometimes get rowdy and do stuff. Joseph is like that. But when it's his day, he can be fast though. So yeah. I don't really want to undermine.
It hasn't been his day
much
for quite some time. So.
No, but I mean club races.
Yeah,
he's beat people at club races a lot.
We call him Captain Club Race now.
I mean, if Joseph really put his mind into it, he could become a better version.
Actually, not helping with this whole situation here. The thing is to deter him from racing. So racing,
no, I do want to. I want to do that, but I want to make him just race club races, because he could become a better version of Drake, where he doesn't even race the big ones; he just races the small ones.
Jake, you should stick to racing people one-handed while drinking a beer and throwing whips like that. That's
100%. I'd like to see that happen. Like just 1 year, every race he went to, he would have to be drinking a beer and racing one-handed.
That would be really good at it. He's got those big hands.
He's insanely good at it.
He is. He is very good at driving one-handed. All right, Adam Ross. We got a question from Adam Ross up in Canada. How you doing up there in Canada? S-Works, gentlemen. Canada. Why would you run CVDs over conventional drivetrain? I even heard that some just run them in either front or rear. Can you please talk about some of the pros and cons and when you would use this tuning option?
Okay, I gotta clear something up, because I make this mistake a lot of times. Cars like Associated, Mugen, I believe S-Works too. No, S-Works runs universals, but Associated Mugen, the drive shafts they run are called CVAs, because the joint is inside the axle. If the joint is outside the axle, that's CVD. That's what I
did not know that. I did not know the difference between CV. I thought they're just captured CVDs. So
so the CVA is the more accurate term for it. So basically, the CVA versus a universal, the difference is that the universal is more smooth. It has less friction, less resistance to sort of angling up on drive. So when you throttle up, the more friction inside the CVA will try to keep the drive shaft straight, whereas the universal will have less friction, and that sort of straightening up effect will be a lot smaller. You can't really feel it that well. You still feel it, and different lengths of universals have huge differences between them, thanks to the friction differences and the angle differences and all of that. There's way too much to go into, but basically,
Axle
most
plunge.
axle plunge, yeah,
I just wanted to
that's
say axle plunge.
yeah, whisper into the mic so people can really feel it.
Axle plunge.
Yeah. So the axle punch you get with the drive shafts is the friction is higher with the CVA. So basically, on reality, what you get most of the times, bumpy track, slow speed, universals all around is better. Um, some cars prefer universals out front, CVAs in the back. So you keep up corner speed thanks to the rear end sort of being more stable, more calm on power as the drive shaft will sort of stiffen up the rear end. And the front end will still have a lot of turning thanks to the fact that there isn't a lot of friction in the drive shaft. So when you have full lock, the drives just aren't trying to straighten up. So that is sort of a setup which associated cars, I'd say cars like even HP probably would be really good. HP I don't think has a CVA option, but if they did, I think that would be a really good one for them to have. And then full CVA is sort of a high grip, high speed, mellow corners option where the car just locks up really well, has a lot of corner speed, doesn't have as nimble of an as effect. So that sort of, especially if you have bumps, a lot of the times universal will be good. When you have a higher speed, the CVAs will, thanks to the friction, will calm down the car on power. It will not move around as much. It will be keep more stable. So that's something you often look for in the CVAs. And in my opinion, if it's smooth, if it's high speed, then CVAs all around, no questions asked. If it's a little bit more diverse, it's high speed, but it has tight corners, it has a little bit of bumps, it's a low grip or something like this, then universals out front, CVAs in the rear. And if it's like any sort of West Coast American track, except for Joey's 90-degree corner tracks, then go for universals all around. That's sort of my guidelines I'd go about. A lot of times the feeling thing. Some people just like the feeling of universals, making the car move around a bit more, making it more nimble. But a lot of people like the fact that the CVAs stiffen up the car, give you a lot more corner speed. So you can go either way, which you prefer, but both have their benefits and losses. But that's basically sort of the main thing spot.
Well, I learned something there. I learned what CVAs are.
You listen to the first 30 seconds.
Yeah. I just, when you go in your science med stuff, I kind of zone out. Jamie Docking. What's up, Jamie? I race an e-buggy on Astro. When the track gets really grippy, grip roll can be an issue. I'm already running the stiffest springs at 25 millimeter ride height. What's the next thing to look at in my setup? Sway bars?
Sway bars, yes. But before going into sway bars, I looked at roll centers really. So when you lower your roll centers, especially raising your upper link, which reduces the jacking force a lot, in my opinion, that is a lot more beneficial way of reducing grip roll. Because you could be running the softest springs you find, you could be running the softest roll bars you find, but if you roll centers, and especially if your upper link is as high as possible, roll center as low as possible, and upper link as high as possible, so that the jacking force is minimized, your car won't grip roll.
So basically, what you're looking for, like if I can do it, because you want the car, so you're gonna have your links like that, kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
So this
So
would be the
like,
link on the shock tower, and the link, it would be more at an angle like that. So
yeah. So
what that kind of does, instead of just where you get, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I'm thinking. So instead of where Jackson gets to that point where it all just does that and then it flips
yeah,
over, it's much more, that angle creates much more roll that
exactly.
you can get away with in the, so instead of it just being like a quick snap like that, it's like, so it's angled like this, so it's like it rolls
Yes,
slower.
exactly.
Does that make
So
sense?
yeah, it definitely
Okay.
makes sense, and that's exactly what happens when you have the link so that it's very low on the tower. It starts to pull the car up. So when it starts to pull the car up, obviously the car wants to be pushed down. So when the grip on the tire is very high, it pulls the car up. The car itself wants to go down, and then when the grip on the tire is too much, it just snaps the car over. But when you have the link very up high on the tower, it doesn't really want to pull the link. It rather just wants to roll the car, and that sort of loses that snap effect. And you have much more time to react. You have much more time for the car to roll. Obviously, you're gonna lose a bit of corner speed. You're gonna lose a little bit of grip with this. So the way you do it is you balance it with having stiff springs. You balance it between having less towing, for example, if you want a car to steer more. You want to balance it with having stiff roll bars, stiff diffs, and then having this sort of roll centers very low. And do it by raising the link first. And if you want a bit more stiffness in the car, you can raise the arm as well. This way, in my opinion, you will achieve a car which is, it isn't too stiff, so it goes well over small bumps. Especially in Astra, you will have that. I believe you're somewhere in Europe. Can't remember your name, but I imagined you'd be somewhere
I
in
think it's
Europe
in
if
the
you're running
UK.
that. Yeah, UK Astra is definitely bumpy. So you want to have suspension that's quite soft. You want to have some droop. You want to have soft springs, soft roll bars to make the car handle better over bumps. So you want to look for ways to cancel the grip roll other ways. And would you, which car did he say he drove? I
No,
think
he
he said
didn't mention
80.
which car he
He
drove.
didn't mention. Okay, but first thing I do, raise the link. If you're running a link car, raise the link, front upper link and rear upper link. Just raise it on the tower, like one hole, two holes, how much you want to try, but try that first, and then after that, see what you want to do. If you're running a car with an upper arm, it's gonna be harder because the range isn't that big. So the front end is gonna be a bit tough, but yeah, just raise upper links. Or if you're running a car with an upper arm, raise upper arm as well. But that's going to be something that's going to give you more trust in the car. That's going to give you much smoother time. If you're running a C hub car, you can try raising the hub as well if that's possible. So just raise the front hub up, and in the rear end, sometimes it helps you by raising the rear hub. But if you're running a Mugen or an AE, where if you raise the hub, it raises like a 5 millimeters, that's too much in my opinion. If you're running some car which has these like bushings, which you can adjust by 1 or 2 millimeter spacings, raising the hub, rear hub can help you too. But oftentimes, if your car is struggling in other ways, like the roll center is too high, that time you will have the car slide around and then stick suddenly, and then it's going to grip roll again. So you want to, in my opinion, focus on the roll center first, match that with anti-roll bars and springs, and then move on to like racing the hubs and such to get you over the bumps better if that's the thing you still need.
I
They've
think he
started
runs an
targeting.
Agama. I think he runs an Agama, it looks like. He actually
Okay,
races at Endor, which is like, I believe, an all Astro track in the UK. So
okay, so yeah, but race the links on the towers.
I could be wrong.
Any, but this sort of advice applies to anyone who runs on Astro. Really, uh, don't go too stiff on roll bars and diffs straight out, because that's not really your issue. Because your car is grip rolling because there's too much force in the tire, and what you're doing by stiffening up your roll bars and springs, you're just applying more force on the outer tire. So that's just more force to make your car grip roll. At the end of the day, it will help you because your car will be standing more upright. But in sort of theory and in making the car work properly, that's not really a way to make the grip roll disappear. That's just making a way for you to lose grip and not gain most of it. Yeah. So yeah, upper links higher. If you need it, raise the lower arm. If you need more stiffness in the car, after raising the upper links. But yeah, you definitely, if you're racing an Astro or something, you need to run stiffer roll bars and stiffer springs. That's a no-brainer in my book. But yeah,
It might be an Agama.
Astro is a very sort of, it's a very different beast to anything else. So it's not something I could explain in one question. But like, I have never run Astro that much that I'd sort of be that would be so natural for me. But those are the things I do when I'd go to Astro, and those are the things I always did when I went to high group track. Those very abrasive or bumpy or all of that, which Astro
Gotcha.
most likely is.
Got you. Great question, Doc. Jamie. I think it was Agama. It had an Agama wing on it. It had black shock towers that were chamfered. So I don't know. It was C Hub. So it definitely looks like an Agama. All right. Our last question comes from Instagram. Do we have any Discord questions?
Can't remember of any.
Okay.
I mean,
well, I'll look after this, and then we'll wrap this up. What by S Richter 16? What are the biggest mistakes newbies make with learning Nitro? I'm gonna say two of my biggest mistakes I see with people that run Nitro. They're getting advice from bad people, from people with cars that run right, because everybody's got that Nitro guru guy who knows everything at their track, right? And I think people really underestimate clutch maintenance. So my things of advice to any Nitro racer is if you see a guy out there and his car never flames out and his car always looks good and it sounds great, go learn how to tune from that guy. You know what I mean? Because he should be able to tune any motor if his car sounds like that. Also, don't get caught up on you have to have a $600 engine. You don't. Get a cheaper engine to learn, a cheaper but decent engine to learn on. And also, I see this, I think people ask too many people. Ask one person that you trust or a couple of people that you trust and go from there. And don't give up because it's difficult. You're going to have flame outs. You're going to have this. It's not like e-buggy. So it's something you got to learn. You got to want to learn. And also, I would say check out Joseph's video too, because it's really good about tuning engines.
Yeah.
And just learn, absorb as much knowledge as you can because Nitro is a learning curve. You never stop learning. And it's about preparation. Like if you think your clutch, like it's just more work. Like you have so much more moving ingredients and you have to make sure all of that's working properly. Make sure your linkage is set up right too.
Oh,
that's
yeah. I was going to say that.
One big mistake I always see is linkages aren't set up properly.
Yeah. That was my sort of first thing. Throttle and steering. Throttle,
and your
brake,
brakes.
and steering. All of that. Like every time someone says my car is handling weird, that's always what I do first. Check brake, check throttle, check steering. Because 90% of times, even with people who have been running Nitro for many years, set it up completely wrong. And after I fix it, they go out on track and say, oh my God, this is so much better. So like that is, in my opinion, the number one thing. Check that your linkage is set up like the other guys are. If you don't know how to set up, like if you're running an AE, ask someone who's running your AE at your track. If you're running another brand, ask someone who's running your brand at the track. If you're running brand like Mayako, where you can ask on a Discord, ask on a Discord. So like that is like set up your linkage properly. That is the first thing, in my opinion. Second thing is obviously the engine. And my sort of thing is, if you're a guy who's starting out, buy a cheap engine that you know works. Something like the SH is a perfect example because it works with all other people I've heard from. Alpha used to be good in back in the day. Can't speak for it today. I don't really know. The SH seems to be a one which should be super easy to tune. It should work pretty well. When you've gotten used to Nitro a bit more, buy a race engine separately. So buy something like an OS. And when you buy a good engine like an OS, use good fuel. So don't use some shitty fuel you buy from use fuel like in Europe. I recently really liked Hot Fire fuel. That has been very good for me. Runner time seems to be good too. Some people say it's a bit better than Hot Fire. People say that Hot Fire is better than runner time. In America, I can't really say what's the best fuel. I mean, some people run VP Pro. I don't really know if it's good or not. But run a good fuel. Find out what's
Run
what's an
TNR
actual good
fuels
fuel.
because they're a sponsor
Yeah,
of the podcast and
TNR.
their fuel's
Yeah.
good.
I
There
guess
you go.
I've never run their fuel, so I don't really know it personally. But I mean, they put a lot of effort into it, so I'd expect it to be good.
All right.
So run a good fuel, and when you run an OS engine, please heat it up before you fire it up. Like every single time, like my OS engine, I have never started it below like 80 degrees Celsius. In its lifetime, that engine has never been fired up below 80 degrees Celsius, which is like, I don't know, over 150 in Fahrenheit, I think. So, like, make sure you
Preheat it.
preheat your engine every time you fire it up. If you buy a shitty $200 engine, then I don't really care because those aren't going to be good either way. But if you buy a good engine, take good care of it. Use good fuel, preheat it, change glow block so that the glow block doesn't break inside it and break everything inside it. Any engine you use, buy OS P3s or P4s and you'll be good. Don't buy some shitty glow plugs. And yeah, those are the things I'd say to most Nitro people. And please clean your cars, refresh your cars, look at the cars that nothing is like sort of breaking. So just sort of
Check your
keeping
engine
an eye on
screws.
stuff. Yeah, check your engine screws too. Yeah. Just like check everything's good. Brake linkage, engine, clutch, as Keenan said. I think that's about it. You'll be good.
Yeah, and get yourself a good tuning screwdriver.
Yeah,
Gonna
that's
need it.
gonna make your life a lot more nicer.
One more question and then we're out. Nathan Genda, with most of the top cars sharing certain design concepts, what's your favorite aspect of the new Mayako car, Max?
Oh wow. So the new aspect, well, sort of something completely different is the fact that you can actually have a pillow ball design as a C hub. So now you get the KPI angle of a pillow ball, but you can tune it, tune the upper link length, you can tune the height of the hub, you can tune the offset, everything pretty easily. So that's something I think is sort of revolutionary about it, even though people probably don't understand it properly. But what was the question specifically? Did he ask something? What was the? You're on mute. You're still on mute. I don't know what's going on, but
No, I muted myself because this lady was singing outside my door. Yeah, he asked, what's your favorite design aspect that other cars don't have?
yeah, so that's probably my favorite specific design aspect. But I think the reason why I'm the most excited about the Mayako compared to other cars is the fact that I know, thanks to people who are involved with the project, that things like the fact that how the car will handle on paper, like theory, like suspension forces, spring forces, roll centers, all of this, and then balancing it out between front and rear end and making the car work has been taken into account when designing the car. So this car hasn't been designed in a way where you just drew up some parts, make the parts, and they try it on the track and try to sort of make it work good. This car has been made work by first looking at it on computer, trying out things that should work and then putting it out on track and comparing the findings on the computer, and those findings most certainly have worked pretty well. That is something I feel is very revolutionary inside RC, and something that is not much other teams are not gonna get to in at least in a couple of years. But in terms of like specific design, it's in my opinion the front hub, where you can have the KPI of a pillowball car, but the availability to adjust upper link, the availability to adjust hub height, and I think that's the biggest thing. There are some neat smaller things like the center diff mount, where there's just one brake lever, which was similar in the JQ, and there's just like the droop screws in the front. A lot of stuff that are neat but are small. But I think there's some bigger. The car as a whole is a thing why I am personally the most interested about it, and the fact that every time I've tried Joseph's car, and every time I hear people say like they ran the first runs on a car, they say that it drives like something different. It drives like a complete car, like a car that's supposed to drive as a whole.
Got you.
It's not just a car that's been put together and then it's need to be retuned or refined. So that's something I'd say is the biggest thing about the car.
Sweet. Well, I think that ends our questions for today, Max. Thank you to everybody that sent us the questions for the bench racing Q&A. We can see that it's actually working as being a separate podcast, because we take about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to answer these things. So thank you, everybody, for providing us with the questions. Thank you to Max for his knowledge, and I helped out a little bit, I think. And thank you to Beach RC for their continued support. And if you guys can go and use the affiliate link that you can find in the written description of this podcast, it definitely helps us out. Max, I'm going to move on to our Techno RC main interview with Matt Olson of Mod and Mod Designs, it's Matt Olson Designs and Mod Media. And then we're going to come back. We got a little rant, and then we got a conclusion. Okay?
Yeah.
Techno RC. Techno RC. Techno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.technorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Techno RC. Excellence in engineering. #Techno Takeover.
Joining me this week is a gentleman, you heard me mention his name quite a few times. I'm really excited for him, impressed with the work he's been putting in. I remember when he first started it, and you know, his media is starting to grow and get so much better. His content's getting good. He's all about out. I don't know how he does it. This guy, he's putting on 5th scale races. He's doing his mod stuff. He's doing mod media. He's on TV. Man, welcome, Matthew Olson of Mod Media, of Mod Designs, of Matt Olson's Designs, and BattleBots now. We had you on before, episode 28. So it's been a while. What's up?
It's been a hot second, man. Thank you for bringing me on. And, you know, congratulations to you as well with the No Name, you know, podcast. You guys have been doing awesome things. I tune in when I can. And thank you for all the kind compliments. And yeah, been super busy as of late, and like you said, we've been doing you know, the mod stuff and its transfer. We've been doing a lot of media, you know, and it's been getting, you know, pretty popular. So Traxxas have really been liking it. I call them little big races. They've been bringing us in for their events, so it's been pretty cool. And then yeah, BattleBots, and we've been actually running club racing at Huckleberry since OCRC's gone. I've been down there just doing Wednesday night club racing, just trying to get guys in the SoCal area, you know, keeping their stuff going. So that's like my only free day, which is Tuesday, Wednesdays, and then I'm traveling or doing something, you know. So Just trying, because I've got all the equipment when I run my mod fifth scale events. So I got everything, and they're literally 1 minute from my shop. So that's really nice. And then looking to open up a little hobby shop here too called Mod Hobbies, and we're got all sorts of stuff going on.
You
we
don't
got
sleep. You don't
couple
sleep.
employees, man, and it's this Friday is actually like the one day I've been in the office in like the last couple of weeks. So it's been on the road. And I have a girlfriend, so that's she's been great. She's been traveling with me now, and so it's been pretty cool. It's been a blast. Everybody seems to be liking what we've been doing. We've trying to find our niches and everything like that, and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you so much, and also thank you to that podcast that you and what is it, the kid Max,
Arrogant Max.
I was gonna say Angry Max.
Arrogant Max.
Arrogant Max. When you guys had mentioned, I think it was like more commentary or something like that, and I took that in, and it resonated with me. I'm like, that is a good idea. He had mentioned some Spaniard or something like that does a really good job. I don't know who it was, but basically trying to do a little bit more announcing. I've actually started to do my own announcing for events. I went down to Thunder Alley and I did a club race out there for them, doing announcing. I do Huckleberry, and then I'm doing my own fifth scale series now. But on the other side of it, I could see where it's more engaging for the people. So it's very, very good idea, by you guys. And I had tried it out at TNR. So that was kind of our last like really big coverage event, I would say, that we had multiple people at, but it takes another person to do it. So you have to hire somebody on, and that was like me and Rudy, and like my girlfriend was there kind of helping out. But you need to put on a good production, you need at least 3, maybe 4 people. Like if you can give them rest, because I'm telling you, Rudy almost did all of TNR for the moving the camera and everything like that. I was behind the computer talking to people, giving away prizes, engaging with them, doing announcing, doing anything, but you don't get any rest. You're working 16-hour days. But very good idea. I think it doubled our retention.
Really?
Doubled our views. Yeah.
Awesome.
So from just normal swinging around the camera, not really having anything going on, to like actually engaging with the public. So, hats off to you guys. I listened in, and took the constructive criticism, and I think everybody loved TNR for coverage.
That was great. It was great. I think I remember when you first started this, and I was like, okay, I see what he's trying to do. It's like when I first started doing my podcast stuff, it was like I go back and I listen, and I'm like, ooh, the audio was bad or whatever. But I saw what you was gonna do, and then I've watched you improve every year, every event that you've gone to, you're trying out new ideas, you're getting better with your cameras, you're getting better equipment, you're learning. And I'm like, this dude, I actually credit you, and I have another buddy who's named Danny Paz. He's down in Florida, and you two guys, he's also more of like a graphic designer and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually met Danny. So
okay,
I actually helped them out,
right?
And told him some of the equipment I was using.
Cool.
Because I roomed with Danny at the Florida Championships.
Okay.
And he was their photography guy. And then I explained to him what I'm trying to do with what I'm doing. And then Lance was there. And Lance hit me up to see what I'm using for different stuff. And then Danny started to do his thing. So Danny's a super good dude. I've been liking his work as well.
He's doing it full time though, but like not just RC right now. Everything.
Yeah.
So he's really into the editing stuff.
Yeah.
He's really good at that. So he's really pushing forward with that right now. Really good stuff. He does all my intros and stuff.
Oh, nice. So that's good. So I knew he was working for a different company for some point in time. Maybe he's doing this full time now. I don't know. But yeah, Danny's a good dude. But yeah, he ended up shortly after, talking to me and when I was at Florida RC, car championships, whatever it was, Florida carpet championships, I think it was, then he started doing it, which is good. I'm glad, it sparked some more people doing it. And we need to get more coverage out there for RC. We don't have,
because you can't be everywhere, but you try to be.
That's impossible. I
don't know how you do it, but you try to be. But all right, we'll talk a little bit more about the media side of things here in a minute. If people if they're tuning in for the first time to getting to know you, You actually you're from SoCal. You've been an avid racer for many
Yes.
years.
Sorry, I'm trying to plug in my laptop right now.
Oh
but
no,
keep
no worries.
talking.
Continue. You've been an avid racer for many years. You've been working for MIP for many years. You started the whole fifth. I think you got into the whole fifth scale side of things. Started that, created your own brand, which is a mod. You kind of are the guy for anything hop wise for the Losi trucks and buggies. And like you're busy doing that. I know, like, you really push the fifth scale side of things in America and are trying to grow that. I love fifth scale. I think it's awesome. I hope you get up to Canada again, to that big track that they have up there. And you worked with Live RC a lot. You work with them. I think you do photography with them. You do announcing. You do interviewing. And you're very eclectic, and you can put your hands to anything really. But really lately it's your media that I think has been the really impressive side. You're doing all the J Concepts races. I'm in one of the guys is like, hey, let's get you over to PNB. Let's help out Dave and his media guy, and I think you guys can do something great. So when you first started this, did you envision it being like this? And what have you learned? What is one of the things that have helped you get better at what you're doing?
Yeah, so I think it's almost like it's its own hobby within itself. Is the best way I could put it. Like, it first originated as just fifth scale coverage. Because obviously it's I can't get Live RC to come out at the time to cover one of my events. I call them little big races. I'm putting them on my own series. It's kind of like a JBRL, but for fifth scale. We travel around to 6 different tracks, trying to spread awareness of fifth scale and everything like that. We've mixed some 8 scale into it, so usually it's more at 8 scale tracks as well. And there's no way to promote it other than through social media, and that's Facebook, YouTube, and obviously Live RC. But Facebook and YouTube's obviously bigger than Live RC's channel. Only people who know about Live RC channel is RC people.
Yes, I agree.
So I want to try and grow it with the other media channels. So I want to get it on there. And then I just started, with a little fisheye camera. And I just started up, and then I was like, well, this is terrible. This needs to get better. The audio is trash. For about a year, it was terrible. Like, my entire coverage was just like, I just had something up and you could just see dots going around the track, and it was really bad. But I was like, well, it'll get a little bit better. So then I had like a little handy camera that I got for free from MIP, that I stuck up there on a little free tripod that I had. And then it kind of just went from there. We got the audio better. We got the video feed better. We got now multiple cameras. Everything's pretty sound now. So what had happened is we got, pretty good at it. And then I ended up, tracks started to see, or local tracks like Dave at Coyote Hobbies, he was seeing what I was doing. I'm pretty close to the Batas. And he's like, hey, he goes, it's looking pretty good. Could you cover, my midsummer shootout at Coyote Hobbies? I'm like, sure. I'm like, I haven't done anything like that, but yeah. So I went out there, and it's just constant reinvestment. It's just a ton of money. There's no money that I make on it, by the way. There's zero amount of dollars. The amount of money that I do get either gets put back into equipment. Mod funds a lot of it, if not all of it. And then we're able to pay for some expenses. Like, it's not lucrative. So at the end of the day, we've just been doing it, but I wanted to do it because of the fact that I was not seeing a lot of coverage for little big events. And I think that, personally, the little guy needs viewership as well.
Absolutely.
Because I think they are the ones that are actually paying for this hobby at the end of the day. I could see Roar Nationals, and they're awesome. Everybody's going to tune in for that. even the little guy and everything like that. But all those guys that are there, they're all paid. All those guys that are there, they get their stuff for free usually. And that's not to say bad on anybody, but I want the little guy where he gets his first interview, and he's like, oh my God, they're like, where's the video of that? So it cultivates, where we're getting more people and trying to keep people excited about the hobby. There's these little big events that do have some of those big guys that are at it, and these good races that are happening, and we're able to capture those moments, and just really just try and just show people more racing, because there's only 1-2 Roar Nationals, there's only one Worlds, there's only, so to get that level of coverage at big events, and Live RC does a great job, but sometimes they're not able to come out or whatever, but I want more media to be happening kind of all over the place.
I think
that's what we've been doing.
You're perfect for these races. Like, I think of series races like the Northwest Championship Tour up in the Pacific Northwest, which has a superb following of racers. It's a 3-day race. It's packed. It's like a festival. It's like a mini DNC. They tell me. I'm like it's like, even for the people that are there, they can go back and say, hey, let me go look at my race. Someone gave them some attention, and we all have this stuff out there in the stratosphere, and it gets picked up by people, and you never know who would see that video and whatnot. And I think the way you've packaged this and able to do it, it's perfect for these races that might want that. I can't say afford a full or even a small Live RC crew. You can come in and fill in and give them some quality content at a very good rate, and not having to bring in 5, 6, 7 people and all that type of stuff. So how many people is it usually when you're working? Is it just you, or is it like, I remember your dad was helping you out a lot. How do you do it? How many people?
So I can handle an event on my own. So usually it is just me. And then when you see it go like on fisheye camera, I went to the bathroom or something, or I'm doing something. But I do have like where people will come in and help, like Rudy Rico. He's one of my main guys. I've got my other boy, David Orner. He's one of my main guys. My girlfriend will help out. Actually, my boy, Jason Turner, will help. But usually they are doing more of the camera work and stuff like that. I'm the only one that does like all of the overlays and hooks up everything and make sure everything's running sound with no issues, because oh my God, you have one audio issue or something's going on, dude, you'll see 0 comments from people. One thing goes wrong and you'll see all these people start, excuse my language, bitching the entire time. They'll just, and it's like horrible. It's like, you guys are getting this content for free here, guys. You're not paying for any of this, and you're mad at me. Like, come on now. So usually I make sure to take care of everything, but we've gotten our program pretty sound now, where we're dialed in. So like all the J Concepts events, it's pretty much just me. I'm going in there, one-man show. I'll do commentating, moving the camera, doing the stuff on the computer, all at the same time. So it would be better if I can get a second person, if we could afford it, because it's to pay anybody just even minimum wage to do it, you're looking at $500 to $700, for 5 days, because you have to get in there Thursday. So you're working Thursday setting up. You've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and travel home Monday. So whatever way you look at it, it's 5 days, to pay somebody. And so trying to get those kind of dollars to do it is just
very hard.
It's very difficult. And then most of the time I don't even get paid, to do it. And then that doesn't leave any money to be able to reinvest.
I get it, dude. When I went to DNC, I was like happy to get there. I was like, hey, it's great. I got some help to get her. But I was like, when you do all that stuff, you're like, hey, you should make money doing this as well. But a lot of it takes time. It's our passion. Yeah. And you kind of have to stay the course, because it eventually will pay off. It has to. You know what I mean?
What I have seen that is good though is mod sales on modspeedshop.com,
Good.
people are starting to support more.
Good.
So that's one thing that I have seen that's more of a, a selfish part of it, that like, hey, the advertising now that we're doing, or the name that we're getting out there, is working, so that, because at the end of the day, like you say, I got to pay my bills,
Yep.
So, that helps. And we have had a few sponsors that are able to come on here and there, but that money just goes right back into equipment. It goes right into employees, saying, oh, hey, we're able to afford Rudy for the weekend, and get it out there. So everything's, either at a loss, maybe a break even. But luckily we have good people that'll help out, and that are also passionate. They'll say, hey, I'll come and help you out for a couple $100. And, so it's cool. And we've been trying just to kind of find that angle, to make it a little bit more sustainable, to say, because who knows, in the future at the level that we're going right now, if something happens with mod, it all crumbles, because it funds everything.
Hey, how many times have I heard JQ say that to me? If it doesn't happen, it crumbles, and it always works out.
Yeah.
It does. RC is an interesting business. People, if they really, some people make good money at it, and then some people just like it. It's hard. It's a hard industry, a very hard industry, very niche industry, especially the racing side of it, just racing. So very hard. But you're doing good work. I think you got King of the Streets coming up here.
Yep.
With my buddies Tyler and RC Drag Talk. Great event. I think that all kicked off that whole no prep stuff. I remember you doing their first event, I believe, as well. And,
yeah, we did it last year. I think it was some of our best retention that we've had. The whole drag racing community is kind of like crawler guys that race. It's a whole community that they have going on in and of themselves.
Yep.
And then there's money on the line. So I think they have something pretty cool going on there. And I've done a couple drag events now. And this will be, kind of I would say the DNC of drag racing. It kind of kicks it off. And yeah, we'll be there next weekend. I've got 702 with J Concepts for their NCTS series. And then we've got that. And then I think their Northwest Hobbies one, that one was transferred to May. So we'll be out there. And yeah, so we'll be doing, all the J Concept ones. And so it should be good. But yeah, the King of the Streets should be a really, really good event, and somebody's gonna win a ton of money. Somebody is.
That whole no prep scene is incredible right now. It's so
it's
much money
nuts.
wrapped up in it. It's insane. Do you get to race at all anymore?
Yeah, I still run fifth scale.
Okay.
I was they had this fifth scale worlds event that they call it. It's not sanctioned, but that's just the name of it. And I helped run that event as well. So I actually had covering two events simultaneously. Rudy went and covered hobby action, and I set up all that. And then I went and did all the timing, scoring, audio, and the live, and raced the event at the Worlds the same weekend. And I was battling with Kirkman and Little Bear, so Steve Harris. And
right, so them guys are fast.
Yeah, they're real quick, and they got cars just like mine. The guy that builds them is the duplicates of my car.
Okay.
And they're obviously very quick. I think Steve's like 13.
He's like
right
Beefsword of this race.
Yeah, he's quick.
Right
So I had the speed. I was matching for speed, but my consistency wasn't there. So I ended up third for overall in a 40-minute run for fifth scale. So that's pretty good for us. I went to last in like the first lap, and I had to catch up, and I ended up battling with Steve, and then I ended up losing sight of him, and I ended up settling for third. So it was but it was fun. I still love racing when I can. I would like to get back out there a little bit more for 10th scale, but we lost OCRC. I covered their last event, and that was a shame. That place was awesome. And so I've been trying to help the community down here for racing with this Huckleberry RC Raceway. It's a small 8-scale track.
Okay.
It's located at Santa Ana River Lake, so it's literally in the middle of Anaheim, there's these big lakes that are there, and people fish at them. And right off the lake, there's a big dirt patch that there's a driver's stand and racing. So, basically off the 91 freeway and the 55, right down here in Anaheim, there's an outdoor RC track. And so
when are you guys club racing?
Wednesday nights.
Okay.
So
and it's 8 scale or
8 scale electric, basically.
Okay.
No nitro right now. They have to work on it with the lease because it's with the city and because of the nitro and everything like that, dealing with the fuel. So that's out of our hands of what it is. But a lot of 8 scale, like Frankie Contreras was down there the other night.
Nice.
We've got like Watson, Matthew Willoughby. So there's a couple guys that are going down there. A lot of the OCRC guys are starting to, get some 8 scales, and I've been running their program down there. So it's been fun, but we do Wednesday night club racing, 7 o'clock, and 7:30 we start, and track opens at like 5.
Nice.
We've been trying to keep the racing scene going down here.
Yeah, I'm sure Smoker's going to be out there soon. It's right.
That's Smokers run out there already. So he wants nitro though. He wants nitro.
Yeah, he's supposed to be coming to RCGP. I don't know. He says he is. We'll see.
Well, he's always he's like, that's the best race I've ever been to. That's what he always comments I've seen,
That's Smoker. All right. How is the 5th scale scene going? I know COVID's I know you had a lot of followers up in Canada as well, a lot of big 5th scale scene up in Canada, and COVID hopefully is starting to relax for them, but things are opening up more. Even in Europe, all the 5th scale guys are starting to get out and everybody's starting to race again. How's that going?
So 5th scale, I think is like the rest of them. You do this, as far as, but it always kind of evens out. So I honestly haven't seen our numbers growing, but I haven't seen them dwindling either. Okay. I just see new people getting in, people getting out. The tracks more so. Tracks have been fine. We've been working with a lot of people where I'm actually hopefully going to be talking to Joey here from the dirt. Not saying it's going to happen, but might be on for Silver State on the outdoor portion of it. So that would be pretty sweet. So I would be running that event on that side for him.
Lots of eyes on RC right there because and those look so real. People would love that and no dust.
Exactly. So it was pretty cool. It would be outdoors. It wouldn't be inside like it was the first year. So that's pending. So I'm not saying it's happening, but so we're waiting on a reply from Joey. But he really liked it. He saw us. We came out. We had my final series race at his track at the Dirt in Paris in November. So we raced at his track, and he loved them. He goes, dude, these things are so fast. Because we had a race in Fear Farm during COVID, and Mayfield came out to my event and raced out there with us. And him and Tanner Denny was there, and Spencer Rivkin. They're racing 8 scale with us. But during a 5th scale event, I had 8 scale classes. And Mayfield drove. He goes, dude, this thing has more steering than my 8 scale buggy does. And he drove. He's like, dude, these things are so fast now. So he drove my truck. So I was like, about my fast lap versus Mayfield's and his buggy was about 1.5 seconds. Between my 5th scale truck and his 8 scale
fast,
buggy.
Dude. They're amazing right now.
We've gotten them so good, and they soak up everything too. Like for 8 scale, they'd be like, oh, this track is rough. We soak that all up. It doesn't even the closest thing I could say, like driving a 5th scale, is like driving like an electric Truggy. That's kind of how they handle.
And they look so real, like when they're out there.
Yeah,
I watched them at DNC in 2018. That's the first time I ever seen them go. I loved it.
If you can get a bunch of guys together with skill, they are a sight to behold. And they're probably the funnest you'll ever have driving an RC car. So they're a lot of fun. A lot of good people. The community's the best. Like as the scale gets bigger, the people get nicer. Like that's how it kind of pretty much works. So it's a really good community. It's pretty tight knit, and we've just been trying to grow it and give it more eyeballs. And we do a lot of upgrades for it. So Mod does, we do clutches and shocks and our brake systems. Actually, they're in here. Those are the brakes and their brake pads and stuff. So brake systems and just hop up parts. We're kind of like a pro shop for them. And then we try and help out, at the racetrack and help people with setup. And, we got a whole crew, 3, 4, 5 guys that come down there, help run the event, set it all up. So we really try and put on a good event. And then whatever 5th scale event that there is on the West Coast, usually we're part of it for either the coverage part of it or helping run the event for timing and scoring and, audio. So we really try and bring a quality, like what all the 8 scale guys are always and 10 scale is used to, so we've been trying to help it grow. It's been growing. As far as Canada's concerned, I haven't been back there since their last nationals that they had at that big track at Walton. And I honestly don't know when I'm going to get back up there. They've got a lot of restrictions for COVID, and they pretty much, I don't know.
That's still
I'm not going to get international.
They can come over to America, but it's hard to get back. But I mean, hopefully when things get back to normal or somewhat normal, whatever normal will be, that track is like the biggest RC track it's like I actually believe you can drive full scale vehicles on it because it's that big.
It's a 50s track.
Yeah.
So usually it's a like little motorcycle 50s. That's what the track usually is. It's at a motocross track, like for KTM or something like that.
It's badass. That's all I know.
It's really, really cool. You're like on 2 containers when you're there.
Really?
It's like, oh yeah, the size of like the DNC track times 4.
I would say so.
It's about that, and like looking down at and the elevation that it has is, so it's really, really cool. Just big lumbering jumps, but yeah, all the guys up there, all the Canadian guys, they're super cool. I love those guys, and just everybody's been awesome. But yeah, with their restrictions and everything going on with the government, I couldn't tell you the next time that I'm gonna. Yeah. I go up there every year, sometimes twice a year.
Right.
And I just don't know when I'm going to be able to get back there.
Sweet. Yeah, I got myself. I'm not got a 5th. I do want to get a 5th scale once, but I'm got like a big. I've been getting into RC boats, so I'm building this big 58-inch gas boat. It's got like a 30. Now I will say this, that the marine gas engines are a lot cheaper than the surface engines. I think I can get like a 30.5 Zenoa modified engine for like $500 or something like that.
It's about another 250, 300 for one of ours. That's not terrible.
Not too bad. But I got a 30.5 cc going in this. Some guys put twins in these things. Like, it's crazy. It's madness. So
yeah, they're nuts.
I know. My wife hasn't seen this yet, so yeah. I'm had it hidden for many months now.
Just say that you built it out of parts.
Dude, it's a big yellow 5 foot boat. I don't know how I'm gonna explain that. All right. So another thing, dude, I'm watching Discovery Channel. I kind of saw something about this a couple years ago. Like he was in the crowd, like a picture or a selfie that you had posted. And then I had saw on Facebook and all that stuff. And then it kind of I was watching Discovery the other day and I saw you on there and I was like, look at Matt. And he's on BattleBots. Like I've had Jack Barkle on her from Endgame. So I am interested in BattleBots. I think it's cool. I'm not an avid follower. I think the whole like the fighting and the bots and the RC side of it's really cool. But yeah, man, you are on BattleBots. How did that happen? Like, did it happen from that time that you went and watched it, or like how did you get involved in that?
So basically my friend Andrew from Canada, actually, because it's a Canadian team. Lucky's a Canadian team. And I've been on since like 2018 or 2017 or something like that. A 4 or 5 years ago. But I met my buddy Andrew up in Canada at Racing 10 Scale.
Okay.
We used to be this track we used to go to this race called the Canadian Nationals up there. And it was at my buddy Billy's track. And it was pretty cool because you raced underneath a circus tent and it was on the side of a runway at an airport. And you would pit inside of the airplane hangar.
No way.
It was bad. Like it was a super, like Lee Martin went down there before.
Really?
Tom Cockrell. There was a bunch of guys that went down, and my buddy Billy Sutton. It was super bad. It was so cool. anyways, we did that for a couple of years, and Andrew, was kind of dabbled in it, and kid's wicked smart. Anyway, so he got into, I'm sure Motorama.
Okay, yes.
So Motorama, it's like a mecca of hobbies. They got cars there, RC cars. Scotty Ernst puts on a race there. Well, we used to go there as well to Motorama. Myself and Rudy, MIP would send us down there. And there was also BattleBot, or there was also smaller bots. Like they do small BattleBot competition there. And I saw Andrew there. So we've always been, good friends. And then so he's gotten into the fighting robots. I've never really been into it that much. And then one day he hit me up. He says, "Hey, I'm in Long Beach." He goes, "You should come down." So ipso facto, I was able to get into the pits of BattleBots when I was there. And dude, it went up against like a Tombstone or something like that. And Lucky was trashed. He was like a little, like
that.
That's how Lucky looked after the motors were gone, just total tin can. And I kind of got in there and I started to kind of work with the guys, like kind of look at them, and some of these things you look inside of them, without the movie magic that's happening and the form and finish of some of this stuff that's in BattleBots. Like they built this definitely in their garage,
like 1980s RC.
Oh, dude, they built it with a Dremel, some of this stuff. And then other ones are like beautiful, you'll see, like I went up against a bot called the big Orby blade, the yellow one I went up against. And that was beautiful. Like it was work of art. And some of them are like that. But I ended up crushing that thing. So the thing is, it's like, and then you see some of these and like the fit and finish of some of them. So a lot of these guys are just hobbyists that get into it, and they're a lot of very, very smart, very, very smart.
Okay.
And all the teams are built up of people with their own skill set. So like there's a guy that draws everything. There's a guy that, CNCs everything. There's a head guy that gets everybody together. There's a guy that, helps wrench on everything. There's a guy that does all the programming. So for the electronics. So there's a whole crew that has to come together to kind of make these happen, usually speaking. And they were kind of always missing like a driver. So I had helped them, I'm a pretty good wrench with everything. I know how stuff, needs to fit and function, and looking for problems and, making sure, this, is going together right. So on the mechanic side of it, I was very, very good. So they liked me as a wrench. I was just kind of helping out. And I did that for like 2-3 years, just helping in the pits and everything like that. And then they've always kind of been searching for a driver, and quote unquote, I'm driving still all the time with fifth scale.
Yeah, like natural fit.
And it's almost the same size basically too. And but these things are 250 pounds, and obviously there's no jumps, and you're rolling around.
They do fly.
But they do fly. Yeah. So I had talked to the main team leader that basically it's his robot. He gets everybody together. He's been into that hobby for 20 years now, and ended up we've become good friends. And I'm like, hey, jokingly, I had said, hey, you should put me at the stick sometime, to try it, because I had tried it one time they've got this box that's there that you can test the weapon, when it's a big plexiglass, bulletproof box that they put it in where you can spin up your weapon, you can fire it, everything like that. So I went and I drove it in there, and I was just drifting around the box, just sliding it in and doing all sorts of stuff. And he's like, this is the first time, and this was like 2 years ago. He's like, that's the first time you've ever driven it? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, okay. So then, just a little bit later, I was like, yeah, you should put me at, you should have me try it, this year. And because we're kind of getting shaped up. It's in Vegas now. I'm working on my schedule to get there because I'm become way more busy with the media stuff, and I'm starting to postpone things. So I'm like, hopefully I can make it. And I was like, well, I'll be there for BattleBots. I'll be there. So anyways, he's like, well, we'll put you at, the sticks. He bought me these couple little battle bots that are like little tiny bots.
Mhm.
And I built that up, and I was, in my shop here pushing around a block of wood, just figuring out, because it's got tank steer. You no longer have, steering. You've got tank steer, so it moves like this.
Right, I get it.
And so that was different, and we also now have reverse. We don't have reverse in RC, so or at least in racing, at least. And so you have to flip your mind. So that was a little bit different for me. But the controls are all the same. But now you have a button for your flipper, and you got 2 different buttons, so you hit the auxiliaries on the radio. And so my first battle was up against Tantrum, and I was too nice, is what ended up happening. I ended up went in hot, flipped them around the box. I had them on the ropes. I got them stuck up, and everybody was like, "Oh, Lucky was being nice," or "Oh, he was keeping the battle going for sportsmanship." Believe you me, I was trying to beat the guy. But what ended up happening is in the initial drivers meeting that they had with all of us, they had told us the rules, like, "Hey, we want to make good TV. If somebody gets stuck up on the wall, you have to get them off, stuff like that. Like they'll make you go and unstick them." So I was like, "Oh shoot, I don't want the ref to tell me, hey, just go and tap him off. I want to go and hit him." Well, ipso facto, I should have just left him there, because all that was kind of thrown out the window. And I should have. We've got this button called the haymaker, where it's like full power. And I didn't do that. I used the jab. So when you're in there and it's like you're like in a tunnel and everything is slowed down, but everything's also faster, if it makes sense, because you're like, you got to be on it, and this other bot's trying to kill you. So that was new for me, where we don't ever try and hit people in RC cars, but I know when somebody's going to try and hit me. You can read people when they're going to try and take you out in a turn or something like that. So I was good at reading what was going on. But so I went over there and I flipped them, and I actually broke their self-rider. So their little arms that come up to get them back. So if I would have flipped them one more time, they would have ended up on their back. We would have won. But he came around, his little bot, you'll see, got stuck underneath me. So I couldn't move, and he came in and picked off my tires. And that was pretty much all she wrote for that one. Then I ended up beating Orby, which was like a tombstone. Their blade broke in half. We popped them up, and then I went up against Mammoth, went and took off his wheel and went out, and then I made it to the top 32, and that just showed last night. And I went up against Copperhead. They didn't show the fight, which was actually a pretty good fight. I went the full 3 minutes, but I had nothing for Copperhead. That's probably the one that I truly lost. They've got this big drum spinner on the front that's like 150-pound drum spinner, and it's like putting your hand like into a garbage disposal. Like that's what it is. And we didn't have you'll see that I hurt my my flipping arm in the battle before for Mammoth. It ended up tweaking my flipping arm. We weren't able to straighten it back up again. So what happened is we had to go with our short nose on there. So I had no flipper. And they put on these little forks that we just got done, like right before the battle. The forks were supposed to fend off the, Copperhead. But dude, that drum spinning, I don't know how many RPM, and it's got a little metal bar on the front, and it just tears through everything that there is. There's no stop. It's like a little roly-poly. It's got 2 big wheels on the side and a big 150-pound drum spinner, so it puts so much weight on the front. And mine's a flipper, so I'm trying my ground game, I need to get under them and flip them, but I've got no wedges because they didn't give me the wedges. And then I have no spatula to go and flip them. So I had to get them on top of this high off the ground for 150 pounds. It's already sitting on the ground. It's impossible. So basically I drove around. I tried to find any angle. There was no angle. I lost that one for sure. We just didn't have it. But the thing is too, is that a lot of these bots that you're seeing, you're starting to see a transition. It's kind of like when, nothing against Lucky, but we need to get a little bit more updated as far as like drivetrain components. Like we're still using like servo motors, like brushed servo motors. So they told me like, hey, don't push up against nobody. We could burn up the motors. The motors are like $250 a pop, $300 a pop. And then also there's a chain drive in there where the front drive drives the rear drive with a chain, like sprockets, like a mini bike.
Okay.
And if one wheel gets locked up, it starts to turtle. So with Lucky, we have to protect the wheels, because if we get hit on the side and one wheel gets locked up, it'll end up turtling, and then they'll start counting you out. So it's a mobility kill. So there's some things we need to upgrade on Lucky, because it's kind of like everybody's going to brushless now. Everybody's got smaller, faster, more powerful and spinning weapon bots. You'll notice a lot of all of the like end game. He's got a vertical spinner.
Mm-hmm. So it's like going at you like a skill saw.
Everybody's got vertical spinner these days. You go and look at it. Copperhead vertical spinner. Deep Six vertical spinner. Valkyrie, I think's vertical spinner. All the Ice. I think it was just everything. The last 2 championship ones, he was vertical spinner. Last year champion endgame vertical spinner. So BattleBots wants you to have a theme. Mm-hmm. They want you to have where you've got a unique style bot and weapon. But you'll see a lot of these, like Kraken. He went out there. He didn't win any fights. I think he's done. Duck.
Yeah, he had a spike or something. No, Kraken had a.
Kraken just has like a mouth that like comes down.
Yeah. I watched this. I watched last night. I think he was fighting a guy with a spike, and the guy had the
spike. There was like this Omni wheel one that was pretty cool. Triple Crown. Obviously, there's like there's a bunch of them that are really, really cool, but they've all started to become like a end game, or like Copperhead and Minotaur and all those bots that are vertical spinners. And even Tantrum I went up against, he was a vertical spinner. So the ones that we lost against, basically every time were vertical spinners that I lost against. And we need to find out a solution for that, because now with the BattleBots arena, they made it kind of even harder for us, because they took away the sides where you can knock them out of the ring. There's only 2 sides now that you can do, and it's right by the doors where you enter in, that you can hit them out of the ring. But we were told during the drivers meeting, if you go and you intentionally go and hit somebody and knock them out by that, you're disqualified. So that ended up being thrown out too. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff's going on all the time,
right?
And it is a ton of fun. The community is a lot like ours. And these different bots that are out there, and there's a lot of smart people. So it's a very cool experience at the end of the day.
Is it bigger than what we're doing here with surface racing? No.
I would think that they're more mainstream.
Yes.
People know about them more than they know about us. But I would say, as the normal Joe that's going out there and doing it on a weekly basis, like we have weekly club racing, we've got our things going on.
Got you.
We've got our events all the time. They've got events they do with the smaller scale, but even us, like we've got media coverage at all of them basically. Right. And they've got little live broadcasts that they do that I've seen. But other than BattleBots, they're very much in the shadows from what I've seen as well.
Okay. Got you.
For
probably
the normal
a lot harder
guy
to get into it than it is. You could go out and get a slash, go to a local track.
You can get. They've got these little. I think it's called botkits.com, where you can get basically like a kit that you build, and you put it in the electronics and solder it all up and do it all. And they've got toys that you can get, obviously, somewhere at like Walmart or something, for like BattleBots. But as far as like the community that we've constructed and the hobby shops you're able to go to, and everything like that, they're definitely not as big as we are. They have like a little bit lower, like we're here, and then there's BattleBots, so we're like right in the center here, where we haven't reached BattleBot level, but here's the normal BattleBots guys.
Right,
over
right. I
here,
get it. They have
you
their
know.
mainstream, but we have more average users.
Average
Yeah.
users, yeah, I would say so. I could be wrong, but from
Mhm.
what I've seen, and I'm a couple friends with that community, you know, they've got a couple little things here and there like Motorama and different stuff. But yeah, as far as up with multiple classes, all that we're doing, readily available kits, stuff at hobby shops, like there's no comparison. You know,
Okay.
and a lot of them, they're very, very custom. A lot of the stuff is very custom, which then you're going to have even a smaller group of people because you have to be highly,
You have to be a tinkerer.
you have to tinker. You
Yep.
definitely have to tinker.
How about the professionalism? I know a lot of people always say why we don't have RC mainstream. I always say we don't have a product. We're too vanilla. We're too PC. I know, like, kind of like RCGP wants people to kind of say what they want to say, and be a little bit more, show a bit more emotions and stuff like that. I know that this is it's also a production as well, but you guys are competing against each other. Can we learn anything from these guys to apply to what we're doing? And because we always cry about not being able to go mainstream.
Well, I think the closest that we're going to get to mainstream, and it's going to sound bad, not good, it's still an RC, is probably drag racing.
Okay.
I think that because the retention level, and you're going to see this with everything, right? You see it with TikTok, you see it with Instagram, you see it with Facebook, where you do this, you swipe, next video, 30
Exactly.
seconds, retention level this much, with drag racing, it's that you have a winner and you have a loser. It's right there. The race is 2 seconds. You've got these little rivalries that are happening. You got this big money on the line. You've got this where you can kind of get, they're
You got
already doing
drama.
it with the form of it for what is it?
Street Outlaws.
Street Outlaws, exactly. And some of those guys are getting into the RC side of it, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm winning so much money." So you're going to, I would say that would have an easier time of getting it, even than what we can with what's going on right now for Roar Nationals, for the mainstream, because you can't follow it.
I know.
We know what's going on,
Right.
because we've been in it for so long, and we try and do better. Like, even with my coverage, I try and do better with like explaining what's happening, follow the cars that we're talking about. But at the end of the day, many times for non people that are looking at it, they're not going to be intrigued by that.
Exactly. It's so
People
hard.
People want to see destruction.
Mhm.
What do you say when you go NASCAR or whatever? You want to see like a crash or something. People like carnage. People like, short battles. It's 3 minutes or less, for battling out. People have these teams that are, they've each got these things that are going on.
Mhm.
And what BattleBots happens once a year. We're doing this 365.
Pretty much.
So we've got BattleBots once a year, and I think I heard production for that was $100,000 an hour.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it goes on for 2 weeks.
Really?
So you think about that, $100,000 an hour to film. And that's with being in the middle of Vegas. They've got huge tents there. They've got production crew. They've got tons of staff. They've got cameras and boom cameras and tons of people for Discovery channels. Like, they're on a totally different level,
yeah.
than where we are, and they've got big backing. And then the guys that own it, they've obviously been doing this for a long time, and the guys that own it, they're pretty well off, like multi-millionaires from other sides of stuff. The owners
So this
of
is just like
BattleBots.
they're having fun.
Totally different level. They're having fun. They've been in this forever, and they've had BattleBots, and they've they're on a totally different scale than what we are.
Right.
But they're able to do that because they've got the carnage. They've got I would say like a Worlds event. Obviously, with us, we still have it, but we don't have that sort of win and lose in a very small, minute amount of time. We've got 60-minute main events like at DNC, and no excuse to anybody, but we're watching the leader go around.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
at
Even
the
though
end
I
of
like
it.
it, I like the
I
long
like
lanes.
it too.
But for new people, we need to go shorter.
It's like watching golf and playing golf. It's two different things. I like to play golf more than I like to watch it.
Got you. I understand. If we even look at drones, we go back to following the cars when drone race. I mean, it's still around, but they had collars, so which drone belonged to which person, and you was able to relate. And you had carnage as well when they crashed and whatnot.
You had, I think, with the drones, not to interrupt you, is the first person view. I think that's huge. I've done it with my fifth scale already, where I've had live shot fifth scale, running, where I'm able to cut to the camera, and show first person view inside the truck, racing. And I think that would be pretty cool. But the technology to do that, even for the fifth scale, and get it to the size that I did have it, still is a pretty big package. So scaling it down to fit in like an 8 scale, or even a 10 scale, it's just the technology's not there yet, at least what I'm able to afford. I'm able to put it into a fifth scale, but for me, trying to go to like Ryan Mayfield during a Worlds event and saying, "Hey, let me strap this little weight onto your stuff," they'd be like, "Oh, you know what I mean?" At the end of the day, even though he's a buddy of mine and everything, he's got $20,000 on the line or whatever it is from sponsors. Like, it's not going to happen.
And I think just as people, we're not used to doing that, because I used to, when I talked to Joseph or David Isherwood, they would tell me one of the hardest things they had with RCGP when they did it in 2019 was teams wouldn't show up for the Thursday media day, which was important for them. You know what I mean? And I think that's just because we never had that before. And when I mean professionalism on that level, I think you guys know you had to meet deadlines, you had to do press releases, and you had to look a certain part and all that stuff. I think in that way, we're still kind of far behind on a lot of things. I like to see us get more professional, and in that way with the professional guys, in a certain sense. But
I agree.
But yeah, man, super adventure. You never know. That RC is so weird. It's been really kind to me, and it's taken me on some serious adventures, and it seems like it's very similar for you. And I just wanted to have you on her, and because I'm always saying how good I think your work is, and you're getting so much better at it. And I just wanted to catch up with you, man, and pick your brain, because I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to try and make some money at doing this type of stuff. And I appreciate what you do. Keep doing it. I enjoy it, and I know as you do it more, you're gonna get better and better. And hopefully one day I get to. I hope they do the 5th scale race at Silver State. I would love to just drive one of them things once.
No, most definitely. So yeah, thank you, Keenan, for having me on. And I watch your podcast. I love what you're doing. You can see all the sponsors that are below and everywhere, helping this out. And, that's awesome to see that all these guys are, promoting and helping. So, it's huge. And same thing, we bring on a couple sponsors. We have a few like Beach RC, J Concepts, TNR. We have RC Speed Secrets. I kind of have a group of guys that keep popping on and supporting the feeds, which is really good. And so I Factory Extreme. So it's these companies do help, and we, just like yourself, we're just trying to get out good media coverage.
Yeah, we need it.
And then on the manufacturing side, MIP and I are still very, very close. I help them out with some stuff, and vice versa. And, we're creating products and trying to do all made in the USA stuff out here, put on good race events, and, just try and do everything. So yeah, it is definitely hard to make a buck, within this industry, but I think we do it because we love it, at the end of the day. How long that lasts for, I don't know, but I'm still glutton for punishment. So
I know it's crazy, isn't it? You just want it's like you come so far. If you're a race and you want to bring mod media to there, contact Matt on Facebook, Matthew Olson. If you're a company and you like what he's doing, send him some love, and you think that's a great platform for you to advertise, shoot him a message. I think what he's doing is great. Matt, thank you for your time. I'll see you probably Silver State. Yep, I'll be there.
I hope so.
And you have a good one. And hey, let's enjoy the Raw Nats because we're recording this the Friday of the Raw Nats. When this will come out, it will be next Friday. So, good stuff, man. Thank you for your time, and
Awesome.
you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, buddy. You have a good one. Thank you, everybody out there. Keep watching the No Name Art podcast and
No Name RC podcast.
RC podcast. I was like reading it right there, you know.
And
No
don't
Name
forget to
RC
check out.
podcast.
I always share your stuff, so you know.
I know.
I'm
Thank
always,
you, by the way. I appreciate that.
It's content.
And thanks for the constructive criticism from you and arrogant Max. I think it is.
Hey, he gets so sad right now. Him and Barry Baker got a feud going on, so I don't know how that's going. Barry doesn't like him too much right now.
I need to see. You'll have to lead me on after this of the drama that's happening.
Oh no, it's just his opinion on TLR and to go to Finn. That gets him.
Oh man. Well, I know Barry's out there this weekend. He's been doing good in 40 plus.
He is.
Yeah,
All
he's
right,
a good dude. So yeah, cool. Man. Thank you again, Keenan, and keep doing your good work. And
you as well,
awesome
man.
To see. Thank you, sir.
You as well. Thank you.
You have a good one.
We are now at that point of the show where you should fasten those seatbelts and put your big boy pants on. Whoa. Things are about to get serious. It's time for the JQ Racing Rant.
I was just looking at Aaron Dexter. He actually went racing this weekend and won. Last past weekend. Congratulations to him. Good to see him racing again. We have a small rant this week. It's nothing serious, but I just saw this. It showed up on my Facebook today. And it seems to be the continuing trend with Traxxas. And they're suing freaking HBO at this time for
this is insane.
Trademark infringements. Let's read this out. So HBO was launched nearly 50 years ago, and they have no doubt established distinctiveness in minds of consumers. With a trademark opposition filed on February 2nd, the company claiming the name HBO Max infringes upon their rights in filing to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Traxxas LP states that the registration of the name could create a likelihood of confusion. The trademark suit seems from a family of trademarks used by Traxxas that includes Max, T-Max, X-Max, E-Max, and others. While their spellings obviously differ from HBO Max, this doesn't mean that the infringement hasn't occurred. The plaintiff feels that the similarity result in a likelihood of confusion. Of course, companies with similar names may be able to simultaneously exist. The real issue arises if their products, service, or even avenues of trade share similarities. What does Traxxas provide to consumers? Radio-controlled model vehicles and parts, therefore. This raises the question of how a remote-control car company could be possibly confused with an online streaming service. That's insane.
Oh my god! But Traxxas has sued everyone for everything, so I'm not really even that surprised. I mean, the same was funny because
that's big money right there.
And it's not even HBO; it's AT&T. That's fucking one of the biggest companies in America because HBO is owned by AT&T.
Oh my! They are going after everybody. They're probably gonna sue us now. Oh shit!
That's it. Oh yeah, that's true. Like someone said on the comments, they're probably gonna sue me for having the name Max.
Yeah, there you go, Max. You are infringement of Traxxas Max. We cannot call you arrogant Max anymore. We're gonna have to call you arrogant. I don't know. Like you can't even call you your name anymore.
I gotta be like after this. I'm gonna have to be called the homeless one because I'm not gonna have a name anymore. Traxxas gonna sue me.
Yeah, they're gonna sue you for rights of your name because you are involved in RC, and you have the name Max. So it's some way they're going to get confused. Arrogant Max Mort, confused with T-Max, E-Max, let alone HBO Max. I just think this is just another string of Traxxas just being ridiculous.
Thanks to this, I actually wish Traxxas goes bankrupt now. Like, I have never really had anything against Traxxas because their cars aren't that bad.
I like their cars.
Way over. They are overpriced, but they are decently good. And they seem to be doing their own thing as a company, but stuff like this just wishes me like just fucking
just like
go
petty.
under, please. Like just like I wish Traxxas gets bankrupt. I wish Traxxas actually gets like going into a lawsuit case and then loses and then actually gets bankrupted. Because I'd be much happier if Traxxas was just gone.
Okay. I am not happy with Traxxas going. I actually do like their products. But this is just stupid and petty and like
No, but I wish people who like obviously the company itself is not gonna like someone's gonna buy their molds and their products.
Right.
And then just continue it. But I wish the who owns Traxxas right now and who does shit like this, I wish these guys would just be gone. Because this isn't the things that like what the fuck is like they have been suing RC companies too. It isn't like they're just going for these irrelevant companies. Like they are going for RC companies too. So it's not like they are building RC and then fighting other people. They're fighting everyone who's like even remotely like similar to them. Like
it's silly.
That's
it's silly.
silly
It's
as
stupid.
hell. And I wish all people who are inside RC would just stop supporting this company because this is all they do.
Hard to do. They gotta stop doing this, man. This is just silly. Like you're shooting HBO Max, like that's big money. They got enough money to throw like Traxxas. This isn't like Castle Creations that you're going up against. Like this is like big time, like billions of dollars. Yeah, whatever.
And the thing, and the thing is like this specific case isn't the deal. Why I'm saying the things I'm saying, the fact that they have been doing this to RC companies before, like their shock design, like inboard shock design, which isn't even remotely similar to a lot of the designs we've seen. They have been doing this to companies with name, like just like this silly thing, like it's with 2 X's, the max, and it's RC cars, not a fucking streaming service. So like this similar type of shit is what they pull with RC companies too, and it's just so silly. Like it's dumb.
It's crazy.
Fucking idiotic.
With that said, if anybody out there wants to share the HBO Max with me because I can't get it, please hit me up because I can't get it. I've tried. I want to see Justice League, the Snyder Cut. Please.
It doesn't HBO Max doesn't stream in Dominican Republic.
Yeah, it doesn't it doesn't like recognize my Bermuda credit cards and all that stuff. A lot of my streaming stuff I have to get it from other people.
Maybe you need to contact Traxxas. Maybe they're trying to get into streaming services now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Maybe Traxxas to put some money back into racing. But then again, do we want them in racing if they're going to be acting like this? They'll be assholes.
Yeah. I'm just happy that all that Horizon is doing are sending these cease and desist letters because like that's much better than actually doing some lawsuits.
You know what? With that said, I actually happen to really like my Traxxas TRX. Well, right there, it's a great vehicle. But excuse me, now I've got hiccups. Traxxas is giving me hiccups.
Yeah, for legal reasons, I don't discriminate anything about Traxxas and all of
enough
that.
about Traxxas. We gave them enough time today. Moving on.
Yeah.
They're suing somebody that they're not gonna. Doesn't even make sense. Like, hey, it's Traxxas doing Traxxas things.
Yeah, I mean, luckily their audience isn't RC people; it's people outside of RC.
Well, it's bashers and stuff like that. But they're RC people, but not racing people. I get what you mean.
No, but most people who buy Traxxas cars will buy it and then forget about it.
Yeah, it's too bad they can't get into racing from it. It would be great. Yeah. Anyway, best of luck, Traxxas, with that suit. Best of luck. I think that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to Matt for his time. Thank you, Max, for answering the questions. Thank you for everybody that sent them in. Thank you to Brent for sponsoring that. Thank you to all the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do it without you guys. Thank you for all the help. We appreciate it. Enjoy RCGP if you're watching it. If you ain't, get that House of RC media package and join us and watch it. $14.99 for the weekend, or $14.99 a month, or $100 for the season. Patrons, thank you guys for your support. You guys got early release of this podcast. We'll see what happens there. Next week when I get back from RCGP, maybe we can get a patron only pod talking about the event going. That would be good. Thank you guys for the extra support. If you wish to be a patron, the link is in the written description of this podcast. Also, big shout out to the awesome companies that support and use the NNRC as a platform to advertise their business. Invisible Speed, TZO 200 Tires, High Tech RC, TNR Fuels, Beach RC, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Mayako, JQSM, G-Spec RC Tuning, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, Clinic RC, RCGP, House of RC, JTP RC, David, shout out to David Ronnefalk, who's here with me at RCGP, hopefully. If I'm talking about, if I'm not there yet, but hopefully he's here with me when you hear this. And thanks, Max, for your time, dude. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the RCGP coverage. I'll be chatting to you over the weekend. And yeah, guys, if you want to help grow RC, sign up for the House of Media RCGP package.
House of RC Media package.
Dude, it's so many acronyms there, I've lost count. House of RC, RCGP,
Media.
PayPV, LOL. We are getting the hell out of her. That's it. Nitro is the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. If you ain't grinding and sliding, Max and Lefty are out.